UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to UFO We Want to Know. This is January 13th, and I hope you're having a good evening. Before I begin the show, as I always do, this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, made fun of, and dragged through the media for the last 76 plus years. Again, it's always important for me to say that because I do believe in what I'm saying. I'm going to do a second part on Lake Havasu because I found so many more videos and photos for you to see, and I didn't want them to go to waste because they would go into my archives. So I like to start the show by showing you a little bit more history about Lake Havasu. And so let's go to the first photo. And basically what happened was I didn't get the information the first time, but I got a little bit more clarity on it. The first picture you're seeing is that of a Pursuit P-40 that crashed on August 4th, 1943, near Lake Havasu Landing. The pilot, Glenn Benson, parachuted to safety with no injuries. Interesting enough, the plane went down into the lake, and they have never recouped anything from that plane. The second plane is shown here, a North American AT-6C single-engine fighter, went down on January 2nd, 1960. They don't mention anything about the crew, but they said, it's confusing because it says that two brothers were duck hunting and were struck by and killed by the mishap. And then another article, it said that the two people who were in the plane, this was a war surplus plane, were brothers, and they both survived the crash. So they're not clear on it. And I tried to get in touch with the museum there, and I couldn't get any clarity from them. Even they don't know which story is correct. So it's something that I guess is another mystery besides the two planes being missing. But I thought that would be interesting for me to read over the air. So we know that Lake Havasu is basically a reservoir, a lake, a river, all those things. But it is more than just that. There is a history of UFOs over Lake Havasu. So let's start with the first video that I'm going to be showing you. And by the way, I have 6 videos and I have 30 photos to show you on this show tonight. So I hope you sit back in your seat and prepare yourself for some nice viewing of UFOs flying in our atmosphere. As you can see, we have an arrow showing this first craft coming down, and you can follow it yourself. We've slowed it down. This particular one here was taken in super slow motion. Okay, super slow motion. The first 4 videos are going to be in super slow motion, and the last 2 are going to be in slow motion. But even then, we had to slow down these videos over and over and over. I always show you the video and let you see what you are seeing by stop motion photography. And that's what I'm doing today. Okay, After this one, we'll go to the first photo. As you can see, it is up there and is dark. The skies were very, very cloudy. It seemed to have a high cloud density. And so seeing these objects, it takes a lot more than seeing a lit up object. When you look at them, you see basically a dot. And if you're going through your regular video motion on your camera, you can miss them. So I have to actually slow these videos down to catch these objects. This object here was coming basically straight down. Next photo. A lot closer of it. I kind of lightened up the background, and the reason why I did that is because the image was blending into the background, and if you're not going to isolate it, it's going to be harder for you to see, and that's why I do that. Let's go on to the next one. As you can see, we're getting more clarity on it. We're starting to see the aurora around it. Some people are telling me, I've talked to quite a few people who are in the know about this particular. I won't say too much about them. I don't want to lose their friendship. It seems like whenever they talk to me, they always seem to say, remember, don't use my name, and don't say that I said this. But I appreciate them coming to me and being honest with me. I've had aerospace engineers and other scientists tell me that what I'm doing is correct, what I'm saying is correct, but they want me to use the word more and more that is plasma that you're seeing around the object. So let's go to the next object. It's closer above it, and I was always told from the readings in the past, I'm talking about 5, 10 years, even 15 years, that the scientists continuously say that this is density in the center is either mass or heat. And then as it glows around the object, it is light or coldness, cold air, is emitting cold air. So you've heard me in the past, if these objects are not touching our atmosphere, is this the phenomenon that's going to happen? That they're emitting cold air when it exits their protective shield? Because if they do have some kind of electromagnetic protective shield, and they are giving off a plasma ray around the craft to either for propulsion purposes or whatever it may be, is that the reason why you have this aurora around it, plasma, cold air, whatever it may be? Scientists have not gotten in touch with me, but the people that I have talked to, and I've talked to quite a few people, and they all seem to go in the same direction. They're telling me, no, Joseph, you are correct. Don't let them say it's incorrect. Don't let them say he's not a scientist, he doesn't know, because you're listening to scientists yourself, and they are telling you that is correct. So as far as I'm concerned, until somebody debunks me on television and says, well, he still doesn't know what he's talking about, that's fine. But I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to conclude that what we're seeing here, and including what mainstream scientists keep saying, that it's density in the center, and then it's giving off cold air on the outside. So let's go to the next photo. I darkened it up in the center using my software. And when you use your software, a lot of times in using your software, you'll get a dark spot in the center like you're seeing here. And then you're getting a purplish or bluish area to the right of it, as you can see. And then you got the the shape of the craft. Now remember, the craft never changed its shape; it stayed the same. And then you got the plasma or aurora around it, giving off cold air. That's essentially what scientists are continuously saying. They're not changing their story. In just recently, I believe it was 2 days ago, NASA is releasing more information about these objects, and they're continuously saying they're there. We don't know what they are. We're still analyzing them. Okay, how long does it take you to analyze something when you've been saying it for years? Because NASA has been saying this for years. The aerospace industries have been saying the same thing when they have rockets on the launch pad, and they've actually canceled flights because of unidentified objects in and around the pad. That is documented. I'm not just putting that out there. These are all, you can look it up, Google it yourself. And on upcoming videos, I'm going to actually show you what I believe a UFO struck a rocket on the launch pad. And I think you've all seen that on the internet. I believe this is 2 years old now. It's not a new story. Next frame. Now, when this was coming down, it went right past a jet airliner. Now, that's it right there, and it's circled. That's the craft. It was coming down, you've been looking at. And there was a jet airliner going across. I was in the flight path of jet lines going over my head and to the right to left of the sun, facing west. So that was interesting. But the last photo I wanted to show you that when this craft was coming down, it made a right angle turn, and it went right by a craft that was coming over. This plane was not very high in the air, but that just goes to show you, I followed it all the way down. I thought that was quite interesting. I wanted to show you that last picture to make sure that you saw this craft and the jet aircraft. We'll be back after this message. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumbler lady 1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. Thank you for staying with me in the second segment. I'm going to be showing you 2 videos in this segment. So interesting enough, on these videos, I was dumbfounded in the fact that when I was in Lake Havasu, I was listening to the news, and they had made, I believe it was 2 reports in the early morning, and then a little bit later on at night, they made another report, and they were saying that while people are traveling, it was most, I believe it was around Christmas, and they say that it's interesting how people stay home and get with family and all that. And it was reported that there was UFO sightings all over Arizona at the time. And I was thinking to myself, well, I'm in Arizona. I said, well, whereabouts in Arizona? I couldn't get any concrete information on it. That was kind of a thing that jogged my memory right now when I was looking at some of the paperwork. So let's go on with the first video. And what we want to do is we want to place an arrow where the UFO is actually starting, its starting point. You can actually see it there easily. And for those of you who have high definition televisions, I zeroed in on the sun closer you can get, when you get cloudy skies around the sun, the UFOs really illuminate. You can see them really easily. And this one here, I had no problem. Now, when you see the arrow starting, that UFO was actually about 4, maybe 5 inches behind that arrow. But I didn't want to start from way back there because I want you to get the gist of what we're looking at here. And that is a flying object, a UFO in our atmosphere. Let me say that again, a UFO in our atmosphere. Scientists today keep saying that there's nothing there, they have to analyze it. Well, if they analyze this one video that you're actually seeing right now, that's clear cut right there. That is not a lens flare. Okay, because if you look at the picture, it's not moving. When you're videotaping something and you maybe move the video just a little bit, you can see the whole picture moving. You can actually see it. Like when they first re-loop it here, you can see it jolt a little bit, but it's still. But that object is moving. If they were to analyze this object, they wouldn't have a problem figuring out what it is. Because after this, we'll show you the first photo of what you're actually seeing in our atmosphere. Okay? That's it right there. So what I did was I made sure that it wasn't near the sun, so it wasn't too bright. But that's the object that you were watching on that video. Clear as day. Now, I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. I don't have the equipment that NASA, SETI, the government, the military has. They have high-resolution cameras. I'm sure if they had this photo in their laboratory, they would be able to probably even see the aliens combing their, well, they don't have hair, but they'd be fixing themselves up because of the high-resolution cameras they have. Yeah, sometimes I make fun of the government and the agencies, but, you know, seriously, if they can't figure out what this thing is in our atmosphere, it's certainly not the cloud because you saw it moving. Let's go to the next one. Close-up of it, as you can see, we're starting to see an electromagnetic field around it. It's giving off a little bit of a flash there. A few weeks back, I showed you an object that was really giving off a power source all around the craft. It made it look like it had lines, but it was actually generating a magnetic field around it as it was transversing through our atmosphere. And scientists will say again that this there's not enough data to actually give an explanation of what this was, but you and I know exactly what this is. This is a UFO. It surely isn't a jetliner. It's not a jet. It's not a rocket. It has to be called a UFO. Again, I don't use those other acronyms. I call them UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Next photo. It's the blow-up of it. As you can see, now I was asked, why does it have 2 dark sides and then it has the light on the top? This is a possibility. This is the plasma part of it, giving a flash. The white is the exhaust of whatever is illuminating from the craft itself. Again, it's not touching our atmosphere, so I believe this is why it does that. Someday, before my passing, I hope that I get concrete proof that this is the case. And let's go to the last photo of this one. And what I did was I took this to the extreme on my software, and I wanted to show you that it, even though it kept its shape, okay, it's what if you want to call it egg shape, it was traveling in such a way that it had a protective shield around it. Now that light green is just taking the place of the light blue you were looking at before, or the light that you saw it emitting. As you go through your software, you don't want to change the image of what you're looking at because it takes away from what you're trying to explain to the audience. And that's the best I could do for that image there. But Again, this is a UFO in our atmosphere. So let's go to the next video. And here again, we got an arrow. We're going to be showing you arrows to where you can see the starting point, and you can follow the craft for yourself. We had high clouds this particular day, and as the UFO was going through our atmosphere, you'll notice that it kind of blinks in and out. That could be either the power source that they're using. And remember, not all UFOs are exactly the same. I'm talking about different beings, different worlds, different realms, different dimensions. I believe, as I said last week, that they can go through tears in our atmosphere or tears in space, and they have the capability of performing such maneuvers that the human eye and even the cameras that we use, whether it be video, high-resolution cameras, forward infrared, whatever we are using, I believe that the speeds that these craft are move at such fantastic speeds and such great maneuvers that even modern-day equipment can't catch every move they make. And I think that's so interesting for scientists to get into, because you can have a high resolution camera and do stop image, and you can get blurs even with the best cameras that we have today. You're not gonna get a sharp image. If you do, it's because the craft has landed and has turned off their protective shields. That's the only way we're going to get a sharp image of a UFO. That's my conclusion. I can't talk for everybody out there, including scientists, but that's what my belief is, studying this phenomenon as long as I've studied it. In conclusion of this video here, when we go to the next, the first photo of it, we'll get some more clarity of it, and I'll continue with what I believe is these different types of beings that are flying these craft. Do I believe that these craft are all flying saucers? No, I think there are some probes that they're sending down to keep an eye on us, to watch what we're doing. The curiosity of these beings is great, and it's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And in the last segment, I'll give you an example of why these beings are in our atmosphere and flying around. Now, in this first image here, you'll notice that you actually see two UFOs. We're concentrating on one, that's the lower one, but there was two UFOs flying in this video, and I thought it was interesting to stop motion this one to show you that there was actually two in there, but I was concentrating on the darker one, the bigger one that was coming down, because it stayed in the darker areas, as you can see from this photo. Let's go to the next photo. Now we zeroed in on it, isolated it from the second one. As you can see, this image is going to keep its shape. It doesn't change. It was going I'm going to have to guess again, Mach 15 to Mach 20. It was moving. And remember, I was taking this in super slow motion, and we slowed it down. I believe it was 80%. When you take a super slow motion video and you slow it down another 80%, that craft is moving. If there's a dispute out there on that statement, I would like to hear from you at ufowewanttoknow@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions or take your call. Next photo. A larger view of it. I wanted you to start seeing something that was interesting. It seemed to have the white area there is your mass again, and then it's leaving out the corona on the outside of it, plasma, if you will. And again, it doesn't lose its shape. In all the videos and photos, stop motion videos and photos that I've taken, they never lose their shape. They always stay the same. So the camera that I'm using is, which is the Ultra 23. It's a very fine camera, but I always tell people use a tripod if you can. The last photo of this one. And what I did here was I went to the extreme on my computer and I wanted to change what I was just looking at as far as my phone. And this is what I got out of it. I zoomed in quite a bit and it took away a lot of the noise around the craft itself. And I thought that was quite interesting to see that happen. Different softwares are going to give you different views of what you're looking at. And so I try my best at trying to give you an image of what I believe is a UFO. And again, people can argue that point, but I believe these are UFOs, unidentified flying objects. We'll be back after this message. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know. And I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumbler lady 1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. Thank you for staying with us for the third segment. On this one here, like the last segment, I've got 2 videos to show you and photos to cover what we were looking at. Interesting little note here. While I was at Lake Havasu, I was stopped by the security team there, and an hour later, the supervisors of the facility I was staying at, they approached me wanting to know what I was doing. And I told them that I was going to do a segment on Lake Havasu, and they said, if there's anything we could do for you, just let us know. And I thought, you know, I should have said that in the first video, but I didn't, and I apologize. They were so gracious, and they said that it's nice to get people to advertise for us free, but advertise just the same. And I told them I was going to give a little history lesson, as little as I did, and they said, well, that's even greater. So with that, I wanted to throw that in before we started the videos. But so let's start with the first video here. And, you know, again, on the very top here, we're showing the arrow where this UFO is coming down. And it's interesting because on this particular UFO, it's very, very short, very, very short. I didn't have a lot of video on it. And it was at the end of the video, actually. When I do in super slow motion, it came out in 17, I only get 17 seconds of super slow motion. And this was at the very, very end. A matter of fact, my director, Mikey, struggled with this one here because of the dark background. And the object, even though it glowed, it was only there at the last second of the video. And so he had a hard time, and he wasn't sure if it was actually going to come out on television. But this is the best we could do for this first video on the third segment here. Let's go, after this one, let's go to the first photo of this, because there's not too much to see there, but it was there. You saw it. Okay. And what we did, we circled it, of course, because, again, we have a dark area out there, and I wanted to isolate it. As you can see, this here is not the full picture of the sky. I actually had to zero in. That's how small this object was. I zeroed in on it. And of course, I put my own circle around it. Whenever you see a crazy circle or you see a crazy arrow, that's me. And I do that with my phone. It's got that capability. Next photo. Coming in, dropping down, as you can see. And it was, this one here was an interesting object. When I was playing around with my video camera, I can actually see the image streaking down, and I looked at my ×5 magnification on it, and it was interesting. I wish that I had the ability to show you what I see on my ×5 when I stop motion it and then put the +5 timer on my eyeball and take a look at it real close up. You wouldn't believe what you see on these images, even that small. Let's go to the next photo. Larger image, you can see it streaking down. And again, they're not going to change its shape. But as you get closer and closer with the videos and taking pictures of it, you really lose a lot. And that's why I tell you, when I look at my ×5, and I've got some ×10, ×15, and ×20 coming my way. I've ordered them. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to see if I can take an image of them, what I see with my own eyeballs and what you can possibly see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I'm just assuming I might be able to do it by taking a picture of it through the magnification. So that's going to be another time, maybe in a few weeks. Next photo. We're getting larger and larger, and as you can see, it didn't change its shape. On this particular one here, we didn't see too much color on it. If you notice, it's elongated, but it was coming down. Now this was, again, super slow motion, and we slowed it down at 90%. Give or take, wherever you slow it down, you would think that there would be distortion. Well, you don't find it on these videos and these photos, do you? If you call the in front or behind it, if you call that distortion, that's not distortion. That's just this craft coming down at a tremendous speed. The last photo here. And that's the last image of this particular craft. And take a look at that. This craft is, if you were to turn this craft sideways, you would have your proverbial flying saucer. It is a flying saucer. So I didn't tell my director to do that, but if you turn your head sideways, take a look at it for yourself. That is a flying saucer, ladies and gentlemen, and it's streaking down, and it's leaving the plasma, or it's leaving cold air in front and behind. Again, a protective screen in our atmosphere, but not touching our atmosphere. That is what Joseph says, not what scientists say. That's what Joseph says. Okay, let's go to the next video. Now, this one here, really, really interesting. Really interesting. I could look at this all day long, and I know that those UFO enthusiasts will see this as a wow, because when I took this video, it didn't take much effort for me to actually take a look at this and say, my God, I've never got that one close. This UFO was a lot closer to me than out there in the atmosphere or nearer to the edge of space. This one here was closer, as you can see. And again, this was taken now in slow motion, not super slow motion. That's why you see it zooming real quick in the very beginning. But take a look at this craft. It seems to be almost tumbling when it gets to the sun. It seems to be tumbling. But when I first saw it, I kept thinking, well, is it a lens flare? Am I moving the camera? But no, I'm not. You can see the sun is standing still. There's nothing moving out there. You can actually see a cloud to the right, and whether or not that was a chemtrail or not, I don't know, because it's a lot darker than the surrounding clouds around it. This was coming west, I would say southwest, in that general direction. And I can tell you it was going probably northeast. That's the destination it was heading for. Similar to when I'm in Pahrump and I do the same thing there. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a UFO. This is not a jet airliner. It's not a craft. This is a UFO. After this, we'll go ahead and go to the first photo of this. And you're going to find this interesting. I isolated it, circled it, like I told you before. And when I do this for a reason. People want to see the object and the object only. They don't want to see clouds. They don't want to see the sun. They don't want to see anything else but the object itself. Now, I got it when it was tiny, and you're going to see as we go through these 5 photos that it grows, but in the video, it seemed to be tumbling, but it keeps its shape. That is so important for me to always say. It keeps its shape. Because as fast as I believe these craft are flying at Mach 15 to 20, and maybe even more, I've heard some scientists say that they can go Mach 200. Incredible, Mach 200. No human being can go anywhere past Mach 9, 9 Gs. They can't do that because the human body just can't take 9 Gs past that. And those pilots that are doing the 9 Gs I'm talking about, they have to do exercises. Breathe in, breathe out. They have to do those exercises so that they can keep the blood to their head. They wear pressure suits, and that helps keep that blood to the head, or they'll just blink out. Next photo. Closer object. Closer of this object. It's a little cold in the studio here, so I'm kind of chattering, but I'm doing my best. And it's starting to show a little bit of darkness around the actual object. Let's go to the next photo. Okay. Now, if you look at this, it hasn't changed its shape. It's not giving me any type of there being a possibility of something in the center of this. It's a solid mass. This is what you were seeing in the video. It seemed to be twirling and flashing, but when you do stop motion, it takes what it takes. And I went over this in so many different ways. On this particular video here, because it was so plain to see in the video, I took about 20 different images, but I put these together here because this was the best I could do, being solid. Next photo. Closer of it. And again, it's not giving off anything, or doesn't seem to be giving off anything, but you saw it for yourself. This was the video you were watching. This is the image. And it didn't seem to be giving off anything when I did stop motion on it and taking the actual pictures of it. On the very back of this craft here, it seemed to lose its solidness, but again, it was flying from right to left at tremendous speed. Let's look at the last photo. And what I did was, again, I went to my computer software to change what I thought was something that there had to be something there other than just a white, clear area. And on my imaging software on my computer, I seem to have gotten a lot better clarity on what this craft possibly looked like. And you can see the outline. This was not a typical flying saucer, but it was traveling at a great speed. I would say Mach 15 on the camera when we were taking it, because I slowed it down quite a bit, and it was in slow motion. So I'd like to hear from you at UFO we want to know at gmail.com. Let me know what you think. We'll be back after this message. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the Tumbler Lady 1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. Thank you for staying with us for the last part of the show here. Before I start the video, I have one video and 4 photos to show you, but before that, I'd like to talk a little bit about Lake Havasu and what's going on in the near future. On February 18th, that's a Sunday, at LV Craft Shows in Tivoli Village in Summerlin, it's going to be from 10 to 4 p.m., and there's going to be some unique handcrafted items for your shopping pleasure. I'll be there with the Tumbler Lady, and I'll be walking here and there, taking photos like I usually do. But if you'd like to come around and visit, I'll be more than happy to sit down and talk to you about your experience. I've had people ask me if they can take pictures with me. I said, absolutely. I don't charge. I don't charge for autographs. Not like some people in the industry. I believe that this is a phenomenon for everybody, and I don't believe people should be making money off of the phenomenon itself. That's just my beliefs. Okay, so with that, I'd like to start with the first video, or actually the last video of the show. And again, we got our arrow, and right off the bat, you can see a UFO in our atmosphere. Now you can see it's passing on this side of clouds. What does that mean? That means it's in our atmosphere. Okay, let me make that very clear. If you got a craft, a UFO, and you can see it on this side of the clouds are not in outer space. They're in our atmosphere. And therefore, you have a craft, a UFO, transversing through our atmosphere. Let me say that again for you scientists at NASA, SETI, the governments all over the world, not just our government, all over the world. They're in our atmosphere. Clear as day. If you have a high resolution camera, which all these agencies have, and they see a video like this one, and I show these videos every week. I show you videos of UFOs in our atmosphere. So for the scientists out there, stop saying there's nothing to see. There's a nothing burger. I don't like hearing that, primarily because of the fact that I am showing them these videos and photos, and I'm taking it with a, let me say it nicely, a freaking cell phone. Okay? A freaking cell phone, not a high resolution camera. So if they're going to sit there and look ridiculous on TV, for 76 years they've been saying we are ridiculous. They're looking ridiculous. They're looking crazy. When they come out and say there's nothing to see, there's no evidence. How many years are they going to continue with this? There's no evidence. You're looking at evidence right now. When you look at that arrow, when it comes on, take a look at what's in front of it. That is a UFO. There's nothing that's going to tell me that is not a UFO. It is certainly not a jet airliner. And we'll prove that when we show the photos. But I want you to really take a look at this craft. It is flying in our atmosphere. And I can't say that enough. It makes me feel good when I say it, and primarily because of the fact that they're lying, I'm not. After this, we're going to start with the photos. Okay, so my crazy arrow right there shows you this is the craft that was flying over the sun area. Again, I'll say this, I've said this in the past. When I say going through the sun, I'm not saying it's actually going inside of the sun coming out. It's in our atmosphere. It's near the sun. Sometimes they'll go through the sun in our atmosphere, so you can't see it. And I believe these UFOs, I believe they purposely come through our atmosphere towards the sun when they feel that human beings don't look into the sun. We can't. That's how you damage your eyes. And I believe that they understand this. They know this. And but being near the sun's ray, we catch these images a lot clearer than you would if, say, for instance, if you were just looking at the blue sky, which a lot of people do. There are people who call themselves sky watchers, and they're sky watchers for many different reasons, not just to look at the beautiful blue sky we have sometimes, but if they see birds flying through the air and they want to take pictures of them, bird watchers, they sometimes come across something in their photos that they can't identify. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what I do every day. But I'm not looking for birds. I'm not looking for anything other than these UFOs in our skies. Now, when I see a jet passenger airplane flying high, and I know that it's going to come out on my video cameras, I'll take stills of them, and then I'll take videos of them, and to see what the difference is when I'm looking at the videos, and then I look at the actual pictures. Do I get a different definition of them? Let's go to the next photo. This is a blow-up of it. As you can see, it's never going to change its shape, but this is what was flying over. And getting back to what I was talking about, when I see jetliners fly over, I do that for a reason. I don't take just one of the jetliner. What I'll do is I'll take a picture of the jetliner maybe 5 to 6 times. And sometimes you'll see a UFO in one of the pictures. Not in all of them, but in one of the pictures. It seems like for every 10 that I take, I may get a UFO in one of the 10. And again, I think what they do is they follow jet airliners who are leaving off chemtrails to test the end parts of whatever the chemtrails are leaving. As an analyst for 25 years, I know that getting particles in the air, you can distinguish what chemical balance is inside of that chemtrail. I've talked to many people when I was working in the Los Angeles area, and they would verify that. I would do smokestack monitoring, analyzing, and we would basically see what was coming out of the smokestacks. That's how I relate that to the chemtrails of these jet airliners that you see flying around. There's a lot of controversy about chemtrails itself. Why does it seem like sometimes you'll go out in a beautiful blue sky day and you see all these lines in the air, and people are quite concerned about what are those? Are they sending down particles to people walking around the area? Well, some scientists have said, well, that's ridiculous, because by the time it gets down to the level of the street, they're dissipated so much that you don't even get parts per billion. So whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. I've never tested that theory, but there's some logic behind that. And let's go to the next photo. Again, it didn't change the shape, but this is an iconic UFO also. If you look at some of the photos they have, they're not actually photos. They're mask views of UFOs. They just show the silhouette of them, different types of silhouettes. I ordered one of those boards that shows all kinds of silhouettes of UFOs. And in future videos I'm going to be doing, I'm going to compare some of those to what I take. And it gives you an idea that I'm not the only one seeing what other people have seen over the years. And in future videos, I'm going to be showing you what they saw in 1850 to 1900. Those people saw things that we see today. And then we're going to go back even further than that, and we're going to go back to 40,000 years ago and I'm going to show you things that people saw back then. We're talking about cavemen, what they saw back then and what we're seeing today. They're identical. And it's incredible that we can go back 40,000 years in some of these cave paintings, and whether it be in Spain, France, in the Midwest here in the United States, wherever you go, you find objects that are either painted on walls, caves, scratched into rocky mountains on the side, pictographs, whatever they may be. They were seeing something in the sky, and they thought it was so important to actually put it down either on whatever material they were making. We call them paint carvings, but I don't believe they were paint. I believe that they were mixing plant mixtures to make these different colors that actually stayed on these caves over the years, and we end up calling them cave paintings. I'm going to get the correct name of what the material they used to identify what they were using in upcoming videos. So let's go to the last photo of this UFO. I got the subject here, but it's so important, but I wanted you to be able to see something while I was talking. And again, it never changes shape, but if you look at some of those silhouettes that they show on these boards, again, that I'm going to be getting in the next couple of weeks, this is one of the shapes that you see on those boards. And they don't show the illuminating area like you see here. The center, according to our scientists, is density, or in some they've said this is heat. Then the outside, of course, is cold air. Some scientists say this is plasma. Using an electromagnetic field or anti-gravity field, who knows? It could be either or either one. But whatever it may be, all these UFOs give off the same image when I take these photos and videos. So interesting. I want to thank you for staying with me. And please write in at UFO we want to know at gmail.com. I'd really like to hear from you. I want to thank you for watching this, and take care, and I'll see you next week. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumbler lady 1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses.